Kgto.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
What's
up, guys?
It's
OGK,
and
it's
Gunwa.
Gunwa.
And we are
Kgto.
Kgto. What is up?
What's good?
We're back.
What's
Another
good?
week.
Another
How
week.
you doing? You
What's
doing
good?
good?
How
I'm
you
back.
doing?
Alright.
We are back.
So back again. Okay, so
What's back. Tell a friend.
synchronization. We are going to talk about something that, we've had conversations about this week, and that is basically what?
Conversations.
Conversations.
So we kind of had like a little epiphany with ourselves when because we talk, randomly we just talk.
That's
to
how we
each
look
other.
like when we talk.
Yeah. We were talking to each other, and we just kind of figured out that certain people don't communicate with themselves.
Yeah, like as far as communicate with themselves, meaning have actual conversations with yourself in your head, which might sound crazy.
Sounds crazy.
It
We're
is
all crazy, right?
We're all crazy,
Yeah, the
honestly.
greats are.
But it is the greats are all crazy. Creatives are crazy, okay? But having actual conversations with yourself,
Yes.
it's actually very important
It's
to have.
very
So
important.
for me, right, I grew up not having conversations with myself. Gunwa grew up, a little more having those actual conversations with himself. But I definitely didn't grow up having the same type of internal conversations that he was having with himself.
What was the epiphany for you when we were talking about that, and then what did your conversation look like?
Okay, so before I figured out how to have a conversation with myself.
But before and after, yeah.
So for example, right, let's say you're just living life, right, and all of a sudden you get upset or annoyed at something. It could be just certain something happened and you get annoyed, right? And so now you're going around talking to everybody annoyed, go, I'm annoyed. This is just how I am right now. I'm just annoyed, right? And what?
Play that.
No, he doesn't, which is fine. But there's a few things that you could do in those situations, right?
Yeah.
Normally, what I would have done was I would have just said my conversation with myself would have been stop being annoyed, right? And I would have stopped being annoyed, but all that was me compressing that feeling and just putting it in a box somewhere, rather than dealing with the feeling and figuring out why I was annoyed in the first place, right? Which that is an unhealthy way to have conversation with yourself, because this problem doesn't get solved, because if I get annoyed again, all I'm doing is taking that feeling and putting it in the same box, and you can only put feelings in a box for so long.
So what does your conversation now look like?
Okay, so now,
You're annoyed.
I'm annoyed. Gunwa. That's what I do to him, and I'm like, hey, stop playing with me. It's okay. No, okay, so now I'm annoyed, right? What I'll do instead is I'm like, okay, why are you annoyed? All right? Because it's rarely ever because Gunwa's annoying me, right? I don't know. It has to be a certain reason why I'm being, a serious reason why I'm being annoyed, right? Yeah. And sometimes I think that
or annoyed, anger,
sad,
all the negative, all the emotions we tend to give a negative connotation.
Yeah, jealousy, being annoyed, sad, upset.
Why
am I that feeling?
Yeah.
Because it's never just he kept poking me, so now I'm annoyed.
Yeah, that's you need to stop poking me before I smack you in the face.
Exactly,
So if you're annoyed, he's like, if you blow up, why are you poking me? Whoa.
Yeah,
Calm down.
all he was doing was poking you, right?
Yeah.
But either way, now my conversation is, why are you annoyed? You know, and I have to sometimes really just dig deep, and sometimes I feel like I'm going down a hallway of, when you lose something, you have to retrace your steps. That's how I feel sometimes when I'm trying to figure out why I'm annoyed. Okay, where did this come from? You know what I mean?
I really want the viewer to really understand that when these things are going on, there's foundational things that you have to work on within yourself. You know what I'm saying? So if you're annoyed at that poking, well, that was a compound thing that kept happening, right? And it was in that little box, and now that box is just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that thing is, you have to get to that thing, and that thing usually is, it has something to do with the majority of the time that I've experienced it is that has something to do with fear. Fear of not having something, fear of not achieving something, fear of disappointing someone. Fear drives those negative emotions.
But so also along with that, I also feel like sometimes all the source is a lack of something else. Does that make sense? So like if
lack of attention to self.
Well, like if I'm getting annoyed at you for poking me, I lack compassion. No? Because sometimes I feel like it's that, from my experiences at least, I would get annoyed at someone doing something and I'd be hard on them right away instead of feeling compassionate for them. Maybe they don't even...
We're just talking, that is just annoyed.
Yeah,
and I understand that. Yeah,
but it's still something you gotta work on. Like, it's not it's your fault. You're annoying me. I lack compassion, so I'm blowing up on you.
You want to play? I don't want to play right now.
Yeah,
stop poking me.
It's a whole thing, and that's something that I learned with dealing with my siblings. Because with my siblings, I was very much the mother of a situation. So whenever something happened and they did something they weren't supposed to be doing, I would be so hard on them. I'd be like, no, stop that. You shouldn't be doing that. Then I realized, I'm like, this kid's like 5. Just certain things like that. Like, the reason why I'm getting annoyed is because I'm lacking compassion for the person. But either way, that's still a conversation you have to have with yourself. So you have to admit that you lack compassion and you're lacking love.
Yeah.
Yeah? Why? What?
Huh?
What?
I don't know. I just feel like... So, like, I don't know. And this is why this topic is very, like, complicated.
Okay.
This is why this conversation should have multiple layers.
Okay.
Like a parfait. A parfait has layers.
So do onions.
Yeah.
And cake.
Yeah, but parfait is the most delicious damn thing on the whole damn planet.
Yes.
Have you ever met someone who said they didn't like parfait? You say, hey, let's go get some parfait. And they was like, no, I don't like no parfait. No?
Donkey!
Back to the conversation. It's a compound thing because it's... compassionate people can blow up on people too. And it's not the fact that you don't have compassion for that person, but it's the fact that maybe it's a habitual thing that you've always done because you've seen somebody else do it. You don't know that that's not compassion, so you're not able to derive to that conclusion. While meditating on it. You get what I'm saying? So you're more advanced with your language with yourself. So you can come to that conclusion.
Yeah, so like my
regular viewer.
Yeah, okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Your regular viewer comes to more of a conclusion of you have to break it down for them and say like there's fear and there's love.
Okay.
The conversation that you have with yourself, does it invoke an emotion of fear or love? If you do something to to someone, and it reacts in a way that you don't like it, then it falls under that category of dissonance in your conversation with yourself, or in conversation with other people. Now you have to say, stop, I'm not going to talk to this other person. This made me upset. This made me annoyed. This. Why did this happen to me? And you have to be okay with that conversation with yourself, and you have to take yourself through some steps. Step 1: what am I sad about? Okay, or what am I mad about? Or what am I annoyed about? Why does this particular thing annoy me? Why does this particular thing make me mad? Is this something that they are doing, or is this something that I have to work on? The majority of the time it's something you have to work on. And it's like, oh, they're poking me to death. Why am I afraid of them poking me to death? Am I afraid of it? What is annoying about that? You have to break it down, and you'll find out sooner or later that It's like, this is the conversation that you have with yourself, you know, and you might not come to a conclusion at all.
You're starting the
but
conversation. But my main reason for bringing up the whole like compassion thing was not necessarily like, if you're annoyed, you lack compassion, like period, point blank. It's more so I had to be honest. Me personally, I don't want to be a non-compassionate person, right? And I had to be honest with myself that was something I wasn't showing the person. That's why I was getting annoyed by it. But that's also, you know, that was like my steps to figuring out what that conclusion was. But oftentimes I feel like, for me at least, I was definitely fearful of what my source of aggravation was going to be, because no one ever wants to see themselves as like the bad guy or the wrong in a situation.
Yeah, I mean, or fear that, because when a child's playing, right, you take it down to like just the simple fact of someone's annoyed at a child, right? Well, when a child's playing, why are you annoyed at that child playing? You know, are there things around the house? I'm taking it from like a big sibling to a little sibling, like, you know, like a point of view, right? Are there things around the house that don't that need to get done, and then they are bothering that process?
Okay.
Is that why you're annoyed? Oh no, you can check that out the list. Okay, well, we don't have anything to do. Well, why am I getting upset at this child having fun? They're having fun. I need to join in the fun, or
got you.
You know, I need to either join in the fun, or maybe there's sharp things around. Yeah. You know, and I told them not to play around the sharp things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now there's this fear of protecting this person, and that they're not going to be protected in the right way, because the responsibility is on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's why I said there's layers to this conversation, because it's always deeper than just the surface level of what you say. That's why you keep asking these questions and keep going down. But by that third, fourth question, you'll already, your blood pressure's calm. Yeah. You'll already feel the centeredness. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why it's so important to practice your conversation with yourself, because there is so many layers. Yeah. Right? Yeah, because
it'll never stop. It's a continuous learning process throughout life.
Yeah, because this is life, and tons of things happen in life. Different situations, different circumstances, and that process never stops. But I guess it can become faster, you know, like finding your peace faster if you know the questions to ask yourself, right?
Yeah. And for me, I like she said, I've always had those type of conversations with myself, and I think that's what kind of kept me out of trouble at the same time. Where did you learn
that from? Do you know? I think she knows. I think I'm ready to go.